Yo, what up guys, it's Flark, and a lot of people have been asking me to share my add-ons, Weakauras, my interface options, my nameplates. One of the biggest questions I get is how I get the resources to show up on the nameplate, or how I get the nameplates to look that way at all, like what add-on is that? It's actually not an add-on, it's an interface option. And I want to answer all those questions now in this video. Of course, all of the links and imports and copy paste will be in the description below, so you'll be able to follow along and make your character and your WoW client feel and look the same way. So that should be really useful. I actually have been asked to make this video for years, and I'm just doing it now because I actually wasn't super thrilled with my UI or the way I customized my add-ons or set up my interface overall. In fact, it's because of long, 8-year-long habits that I built into playing this game to create some things that were not ideal, but I had muscle memory or habits or eye memory, you know, where to look on the screen, that were just hard to get rid of. You know, long habits, they're very difficult to break, right? So, but finally, Dragonflight came out, and they changed the base interface quite a bit, which kind of gave me a jumping off point to be like, you know what, I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to fix this. And I did. So now I'm a lot happier about how my add-ons and my interface looks. So I finally feel comfortable passing it on to you, because I've gotten that question so many times that I've always kind of, oh, I don't know, my add-ons suck. I don't know. And, you know, now they don't. So here you go. Video you've been requesting for a long time. Sorry it took me so long. But now you can never say, you know, I always give you information that I wholeheartedly believe in. And I think this is proof, because I've been asked to make this video for 3 years and I'm getting to it now. So, okay. But anyway, enough of that. That's the intro, of course, not what you care about. What you care about is the answer. So let's give you some answers. I'm gonna start with keybinds. Keybinds will be a short section, but you know, I figured I'd talk about it. Mostly it's the way it should feel for you, you know, like what resonates with you. But I want to give you some ideas and some guidelines, and I'll actually segue into my focus setup that I want to talk about as well. But anyway, on the bottom bar, 1 through 5, this is rotational abilities, of course. Right above that, some cooldowns and some upkeep abilities. You know, cooldowns, offensive, very impactful for getting out your setup globals and doing your big burst rotation. Then above, we've got some niche abilities. Pet stun, pet gnaw. Of course, we got the big A-bomb. You can F3. You can do that F3 click real quick to pull people out of stealth. Very good for disrupting openers. At the bottom here, we have some mouse buttons. These are kind of odds and ends. For me, I put blind and war stomp as mouse buttons. I'm not sure I can like recommend you do this, but it's because blind into stun is a very common, like, okay, grip, blind, stun, right? So you want to be able to do that really quick. Grip, blind, stun. So it's kind of in the same area, so I can quickly go from one to the other. You could do that as Frost 2, grip, blind, AoE stun. That could be a great idea, right? Not everybody is a cow, but you know, you could be. And of course, this is the big stuff, right? We've got the twitch clicky abilities where you got to be really quick. You got to react. You got to react with precision. Of course, kick is here, right? Because if you get juked or if you kick nothing, then you effectively pressed an ability that didn't do anything. So precision is the name of the game. And then defensives and my trinket. This is very twitch, right? You got to IBF the first second of a kidney to disrupt the rogue right after, like asphyxiate him. Or AMS incoming CC before it lands, like roots or clone while it's being casted. Of course, you can Lichborn out of CC like fears and mind controls, but also you can turn yourself into an undead. This is in my beginner's guide, and immune certain CCs as long as you do it beforehand. Like you can use Lichborn in a fear, but you cannot Lichborn in a poly. But you can immune a poly before it's cast by turning yourself undead, because poly can only be used on humanoid targets. So poly, hex, you can cast Lichborn before the cast goes off and immune the incoming poly. So that's twitch. Of course that's twitch. You got trinket, of course. And then asphyxiate, that's your big CC. We got grip stun. We got stun on a cast. That's all really good stuff. So that's kind of how I set up my bars. Again, it's really your feel. What resonates with you? But little things like that, little categories like that, cooldowns, rotational. I've got my grip, stun, blind, all on my mouse buttons, and of course, or my mouse wheel, and then my mouse buttons are my twitchy abilities that need to be quick, need to be with precision. Maybe that will resonate with you, maybe some other ideas that you have that you work with, but I think doing that is very valuable. Now, really important, I said I was gonna say this, go to options, press escape, go to options, and then go to combat, and then look at your focus cast key. And set that something that works with how your hand is laid out, right? Mine is shift. I have smaller hands. That's perfect for me. Shift. Now, Whenever you hold shift, any ability that you press that has a target will instead target your focus target. So if you're targeting a DPS and you want to stun the healer, and you know he's right there, and you got to stun a cast, and you want to stop that regrowth so he can't survive and the DPS dies, right? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to set the focus to healer in the beginning of the game, right there. See, now this training dummy is my focus, and I'm going to target a different training dummy. But I'm going to shift and then press asphyxiate. It did not go to my target. It went to the focus target, right? You can do that with anything. You can do it with kick. Right? Walk over, kick him. There you go. Walk over, grip him. There you go. Right? So that eliminates so many macros that you have to make. If you are just getting started to the game, you really can't learn all these quadruple binds, right? You can't learn all of this. You don't even have the mental power after you've worked your ass off all day to put all that stuff on your bar. This is a solution that is incredible. You set focus to the healer and shift anything. Any button you press that's targeted will go to that healer. You can kick him, you can stun him, you can grip him. There you go. Isn't that beautiful, right? So that solves a lot of macro problems and key binding problems for a lot of different players, especially if you don't have the time to triple up, quadruple up, septuple up on absolutely everything. 5's obviously not in the game anymore, but, you know, for exaggeration effect. Okay, so there's some good stuff, but let's move over into add-ons. So I'm going to talk about all these as a whole, and then I'm going to go into the customization of them. But we're going to start with BigDebuffs. This one I did not need to customize at all. All the other ones I did, and I will absolutely show you that. But BigDebuffs, let's talk about that first. This thing right out of the gate is so useful. Okay, so BigDebuffs, you see these nameplates here, and I will talk about interface nameplates, I promise. But you see these nameplates here. It's going to put a big square. That's what the big debuff is, a big square right here next to the nameplate of very impactful things. Not just offensives, not just defensives, not just CC, but all of them. Anything that's insanely impactful at the moment, right out of the gate, right when you install this add-on, it's going to be there. Let me explain what I mean. Okay, let's say you kick somebody. If you kick somebody and they're not casting, that means you got juked or you just missed, right? So nothing happens. But if you land it on the cast and interrupted that cast, a mind freeze icon for us is going to appear right here with a countdown of 3 seconds, because that's how long your mind freeze kick lasts. It stops their spell casting of that school for 3 seconds. So it's going to put that debuff right here, knowing not only you landed the kick, so you didn't get juked, that's useful information, but also how long they're going to be interrupted for. So if you have asphyxiate or perhaps strangulate your silence, you don't want to press that at the same time. They already can't cast those meaningful abilities. So you wait 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and then the debuff falls off, so that square goes away, and you replace it with asphyxiate. And then when you asphyxiate them, and you saw this before, right? Look at that. It puts that big debuff, and it counts down. So now, not only do you know your stun landed, you know if it's DR'd, because it'll start at 2.5 seconds instead of 5. You'll know that it's full if it starts at 5, of course. And you'll know exactly when it ends, so you can chain it into maybe another effect, like strangulate, right? So you can chain kick into stun into silence. CC is counted, kicks is counted, but also offensives, defensives. If I press IBF, it's going to be right there. If a rep pally presses wings, it's going to be right there. And of course, you know that's terrifying, but once 3 seconds, 2 seconds, once it starts falling off and that wings goes away, you know you got to pressure them, because all they're going to do is run and wait for their wings to come back up. In fact, things like Iron Bark, healer cooldowns, defensives on your, or pain suppression, right? You generally want to swap off these things because you want to pressure something that's taking more damage. Against our druid, it's pivotal to swap because they have to reapply all their hots to the new target that you swap to. So if you see that Iron Bark icon, that big bark, it's like brown tree bark or whatever, when that shows up here, then you can immediately swap off of it, making them hot up another target and not putting your damage into a defensive cooldown. Even if it's not the target's defensive, it's a healer defensive on that target. Big debuffs right out of the gate, so useful. None of that I customized. It's just going to be there when you install the add-on. Wow, and you saw how big it was. So useful, absolutely so useful. Okay, now, SArena. This is my arena add-on for the enemy team, right? This is so useful. So type /SArena in the chat and let's bring up the test. So you can see, I mean, who else but Zaryu, massive streamer obviously, actually has his own customized layout in SArena. Isn't that crazy? When you install the add-on, this will just be there, the newest version. So SArena, new Dragonflight. I'll have the descriptions, the titles of the add-ons in the description below. But you could just get this layout, and it's going to pretty much make most of this. I did a few changes based on spacing, of course, right? You can change, if you change positioning horizontal and vertical, it'll change where this is on the screen. It could be over there, it could be over there, it could be over here, it could be over here. I keep mine on the right side, my teammates on the left side, focus here, me there, and then stuff in the middle, right? So it kind of like, a lot of people do that. It like encapsulates the middle of the screen, but that doesn't put it right on the middle of the screen where you'll probably be staring. So it's everything around where you'll be staring. Again, it goes like this. Circle, circle, right? So that's where all of the information is. And then right in the center is the target and the nameplate of that target and where you'll be looking. So it circles that target. But anyway, go to those RU, position it how it works for you, and everything else is almost customized perfectly. You've got cast bar below, you've got DRs on the left, you've got the, you know, the class and the class icon, then you've got whether or not they have a trinket. So you can stun people who have no trinket. You don't want to stun on DR, especially if it's about to fall off. So DRs will be right here. And then casts. If you see an incoming polymorph, what do we talk about? You can Lichborn. If you see an incoming clone, AMS. If you see an incoming clone and you don't have AMS, kick it, right? Or if it's on your healer, kick it, because the AMS won't do anything for your healer, right? So beautiful. Beautiful. You get the cast bars, you get the DRs, you get the trinkets, and you get the information about the class, as well as mana if they're going or you know, their health bar, right? So ZARU package, position it however you want. All of the options are right here. You can even, I made the diminishing returns, here's another great thing. I made the diminishing returns bigger, right? My size for this is 40. All you have to do, this is so straightforward. Once you've got the add-ons and you hear somebody talking about it, everything else feels like it's putty in your hands, right? Oh, he talks about cast bars. Should I make them bigger, smaller, space them out? Oh, diminishing returns. Well, I can't actually see those small ones. I'm gonna make it real, real big so I know exactly when I don't want to stun, because it's like 3 seconds left on DR. That means your stun is gonna be halved or quartered. Just wait, 3, 2, 1. Now you can stun them and they'll be right here. Make it as big or as small as you like. You can just change these. That's what this is, positional requirements. You don't need to add too much. Out of the ZARU package, it's going to be formatted very properly, but you can change where it is, change how it looks, how big it is, how well positioned it is, right? And that's SArena. Okay, Weakauras though. That is a big, yeah, that's a big customizable thing. You can't, no shortcuts with this one. So of course, I'm gonna link my Weakaura package in the description below. But just to talk about this, what I did to create this, and I did create this time. Last time, I wasn't super familiar with Weakauras. So last expansion, Shadowlands, I took Mez's, and I was like, man, he's the best. And I always talked to people when they asked in my stream, I said, go use Mez's. But now I have my own, and I did make this my own. These are my own abilities that I want to track rather, and these are my own defensives that I want to track. You know, this is what I believe that I should look at. And what these are pretty much everything that demands your attention for every spec or class in the game, especially ones that I can do something about, like things that I need to use anti-magic zone on, which is generally huge magical cooldowns. And it's not just from wizards, but also, well, you guessed it, Rep Paladin, right? So let's take a look at some of those, right? Avenging Wrath, that's wings. Rep does a lot of damage in wings, but I even added another one, Final Reckoning, because this is the 1-2 punch that takes away 300,000 health of everybody on your team all at the same time, right? I mean, that's just brutal. So you have the wings, that shows you, okay, something's coming. Then Final Reckoning is out and you're like, Jesus, do something, blind him, grip him, stun him, anything, right? So that's a little bit of a 1-2 punch for how to react to rec cooldowns. We've got some other stuff. Arcane Power, major offensive cooldown of Arcane Mages. Ascendance, they can get procs too, and it'll actually show when a proc comes out. So if an Ellie is about to do his big burst, there you go. You'll know that he got an Ascendance proc, and okay, that's terrifying, right? So it doesn't have to be like an ability that's like a major offensive cooldown that lasts 30 seconds. Ascendance procs are a short window, but you will know big damage is coming out, right? Avatar, major offensive cooldown for Warrior. Essence Break, so here's another example. It's not always the major offensive cooldowns. You know when they meta, they're big demon beasts. I don't need to put Metamorphosis in the Weakaura, but Essence Break, well, that's a little harder to just know, right? There's a difference between looking at a debuff in the top right corner of your screen and seeing a giant demon beast on your screen, right? So when Essence Break comes out, he's about to hit you hard and then hit you hard again. And it's really good to chains, blind, stun, kite, that sort of thing. Serenity, this is a no-brainer. Every Windwalker monk has been running this. It is a pop, pop, pop. Everything is free. So it's not like they're going to be getting damage out. Like they don't have to build chi or anything. It's all free. The spenders recover quicker. During this window, they are going kick, fists, kick, kick, fist, kick, kick, fist, right? That's just non-stop, right? So Serenity, blind, again, stun. You have answers for this. Arcane Power, zone. Ascendance proc, maybe zone. Final Reckoning, absolutely zone. Okay, Chill Streak, so you can move away from a Frost DK. Blind is one of the only CC effects I have because it could be blind into sap, which is 14 seconds of CC, right? That is the biggest, just like one button CC you could possibly get. And that means you have to do something to the rogue during this period, especially to try and stop him from getting the sap off, right? If you can't stop him from getting the sap off, you can at least disrupt his go. But what you should do is when the blind is ticking down, and you have a Weakauras for it now, stun the rogue, grip him away, and chains him. And even blind his trinket if he has it, or War Stomp his trinket for a little pseudo, right? Okay, so there's another very key ability that you can react to. And of course, there's a ton of these. Assassination Rogue, major cooldown. Dragon Rage, that's from Evoker. Zone this. Mind Games, don't heal into it. Psyfiend, you gotta kill it. Sky Fury, you gotta kill it. Healing Tide, you gotta kill it. You can see it's all the reactionable things. And I take out a lot of buttons. Like I've seen other arena cooldown packages that have like 120, like every cooldown you could possibly think of. Some things just aren't really reactable, like Bestial Wrath from a Hunter. Okay, he's doing more damage now. Cool. Well, he's BM. His pets are doing more damage. What do you want me to do? Cry? Like, I can't zone it. You can blind the pets, but he always does damage. It's better to just grip blind and do goes than just save it for pets, right? Now, Windwalker Images was a different story because they did a very large amount of damage in a very short window. BM Hunter is a lot of continuous damage. So now you're kind of, maybe you're not doing that much with it, right? Tyrant, the Big Daddy, Stormkeeper, 3 massive hits. Hunt, 1 huge hit. These are all things you can react to in a moment's notice that you really can disrupt, either with zone, blind, stun, grip, pet stun, any pseudo effect, or killing it. Healing Tide totems, Sky Fury totems, Psyfiend, not healing into mind games. So this entire Weakauras package, I'm not going to talk about every single ability. I've already talked way more than enough about Weakauras. And I'm not going to explain to how to use Weakauras, but I just wanted to explain my thought process and what you're going to be seeing. Because it's going to appear right here. If you copy and paste mine, it's going to appear right here on your screen. What are you seeing? Like, what is going to be shouting at you? What noises are going to happen? It's going to show up right there on the screen. It's going to do a little honka honka, right? That's what it's going to do. Or if it's a major offensive cooldown, it's going to do the blast sound, the and if it's a quick, like a final wreck, or maybe a ascendance proc, or maybe essence break, that's a good one. It's going to go honka honka. So it's just like something you have to react to in that exact moment. Right? And that's fun. Good. There you go. So I'm going to have that in the description below. That's how I thought about Weakauras. I'm really happy with my package right now. That sounded... You know what? I'm going to roll with it. Yeah, I am, honestly. I really am. And, yeah, it's just all the stuff that you can react to in a moment's notice, especially you drinking, right? You can react to this. Stop the drink, right? Okay, so that's your Weakauras. Now, the final add-on that I'm going to talk about, and this really is the final add-on. I actually don't use a lot of other add-ons. I'm going to set up Omnibar, so maybe I'll add that as a pinned comment. This is all the stuff I use for Solo Shuffle. And Solo Shuffle, I'm a Solo Shuffle main now. I'm sorry, guys. I barely even push 3. Solo Shuffle is so addicting. I play it for 60 hours straight, and I never get bored. It is the most addictive. It's like a drug. It really is. It really is. So these are the add-ons that I use for, these are the most powerful add-ons. I'm not calming with my teammates. So if I see as a DK that my ret doesn't have bubble, I go, dang it. You know, so I don't have my ability team tracker. But eventually, I'll set those up for when I push back into 3s, or maybe I become a healer main, huh, HPAL? But my final add-on I want to talk about is details. And I know that this is so obvious. You know, it's just a damage meter. Like, how are you going to tell us about that? But I like using details to really see uptimes, to theory craft my spec. When I see during an arena, let's see. Oh, I do have arenas. Beautiful. When I see during an arena my breakdown, it shows you better, if you're playing well, it shows you better what you're actually getting value out of in a PvP setting. Because remember, PvP is not all about training dummies doing max uptime on 6 targets, 6 training dummies stacked perfectly on top of each other. People run, people CC, people kite, people root you, all of those things. People have armor, making magical effects more impactful. They also have magical damage reductions, but less of them, right? So it really helps. Jesus, look at this. Look at all that obliterate. Damn, what is it, 42%? What a game. It was a good last game for me, last round. Anyway, so you can really see your breakdown in theorycraft builds as a result, but you can also see if you're doing your rotation wrong. Like in Unholy, like diseases should be at the top, death coil should be at the top, festering strike should be nowhere near there. Your pet damage should be pretty high, right? So if your meters look awkward or different, even if your damage overall is still pretty decent, if your meters look awkward from people, streamers that you've watched, you can actually use that as a way to deduce rotational problems in PvP, which is really cool. Like, look, let's say you're playing two-handed Frost, and Obliterate is only 15% of your damage. You could be like, wait a minute, what did I do wrong? You're going to look at the Obliterate, you're going to hover over it, and you're going to be like, oh my god, all of my hits are normal hits. That means I'm not using my Pillar window very well, right? Because during Pillar, every Obliterate will crit. You use Obliteration, the talent, to generate Killing Machine procs, and Killing Machine procs guarantee a crit. So by deductive reasoning, you can see, okay, look at Flark, 25 crits, 9 non-crits. What if that's flopped? 25 non-crits and 9 crits. You'd be doing your Pillar window all wrong. You would either have low uptime or you just wouldn't be rotating your abilities right. Frost Strike, Obliterate, Howling Blast, Obliterate. Right? You can see these things after the game. And it's such a good... You don't just look at the thing and say, ooh, I did a lot of damage. All my teammates are noobs. You have to look at the real details, right? No pun intended. The real details behind what's going on. So you can see, oh yeah, okay, so Obliterate's only 10% of my damage. I didn't AMS. I got CC'd the whole thing. I could have Lichborned out of it and I didn't. Maybe I had Trinket for a disarm and I kind of held it because I was worried that my healer would yell at me, but I probably could have killed him. If I would have just Trinket the disarm, he's not gonna yell at me if we win, right? So you can look at the meters and see how well you are actually not only doing your rotation, but how well you're getting burst windows off. And then auras, buff aura. This is so useful. Like things like Frost Whelps. Are you aiming your Frost Whelps through the enemy team? Or Plague Bringer. Did you let Plague Bringer fall off as Unholy? That's the thing that makes your diseases do way more damage, right? Did you somehow find a way that you were only pressing Fester and Death Coil? I hate Festering Strike. Stop pressing that so much. It's such a bad button. Only press it when you're at 0. Did you let it fall off because of all these globals that were not scourged? You have to rotate it in. Even if you feel like, ooh, crap, I need chains. Press 1 Scourge Strike, get that 10-second debuff, and then you can press whatever you want for 10 seconds, right? You got to keep the uptime of that high. So Detail's just an amazing tool. There's still so much. There's healing. Don't just say, oh, he didn't do enough healing, but look at his healing breakdown. Did you get dispelled on right stuff? Did you get the MD on the bubble? Did you get dispelled out of CC or just dispelled out of Flame Shock, right? You can see everything here. You can even see, am I missing every kick? Am I missing every kick? Certain things don't appear here for some reason. I think it's like channels like Penance has never showed up here. And I don't know why. And it's still like that. Maybe it's just not trackable from... I mean, these guys know quite a bit about making add-ons, so I have no idea. They're smart. With this, I'm not. But most things do track here. Like everything a Destro Lock is going to cast. If you're kicking Destro Lock, it'll show up here. So if you're getting juked, it will not show up here. So if you have 0 kicks, you're like, oh, shit, I missed every kick. Okay, crap, I got to work on that, right? So Details, just a very good post-game self-analysis. It's easy for me to go up on stream and be like, oh, dude, where's the healing, man, right? But if you want to self-improve and you're not a streamer, you know, rank 1 titles, he's a nerd, he plays all day, you just want to self-improve, you can look at this stuff and say, what could I have done differently in that game? It's really useful when you compare it with VOD review. It's just, or combine it rather with VOD review. It's just so impactful. Okay, I told you, and I promised I would do this. I had to go through all that. Those are add-ons. Those are important. Okay, you know how much I talk about things. Give me a break. But here is how I get my nameplates in PvP. It will show up. Your special resources right here, your runes. Look at that. Rune, 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 rune. That's what people are talking about. And my nameplates to look the way they do. So we already talked about Big Debuff. That puts something right here on the nameplate. But we go to Options, Interface, Names, Nameplates, right here in Interface. Always show larger nameplates. That's the bigger one. Love that. It really goes well with Big Debuffs because everything is so It's big and crisp and modern. I like it. Enemy units, minion for totems, friendly nameplates, of course. I use overlapping nameplates. All of these interface options do contribute to what my nameplates look like. You always show them. They're bigger. You can see the enemies. You can see the totem. So I can just click Siphene, click that real quick. And then the overlapping nameplates, that's just how it looks when they're multiple targets on top of each other. Okay, so that's all good. That's all well and good. NPC names, all NPCs. I actually have to that's good, man. I could show you. NPC names, all NPCs. I have to do this after I host a tournament because it resets my nameplate settings after the spectating the war game thing. Yeah, whatever, it's fine. And there you go, right? So that's the interface options. That's everything for nameplates. So that will show you how to get your nameplates looking like mine do. Okay, but there is one more thing, right? Combat. Show special resources on targets. This, I'm saying that so calmly, or sorry, so bluntly, so definitively, because I've been asked this probably a million times, and honestly, I didn't even remember putting on this check mark. I was probably just going through it one day and looking through it, and I was like, oh, that sounds neat, and I clicked it. And then everybody asked me how I got it. What add-on is that? And I'm like, there's no way it's an add-on. And then finally, I went in one day, and I was like, oh, show special resources on targets. Pretty useful. Pretty useful, actually, for rune management, because you're going to be looking at 17 different places all at once, and it's not always apparent, okay, I got to change. And you're at 1 rune left, and you press it, and now you have no runes, and you're like, okay, right? It's just kind of like a constant reminder of your rotation. And people ask me all the time, so clearly they care about it. And then we have show personal cooldowns, very useful. Personal resource display, very useful. Okay, and that's it. That's for now. Again, I'm going to update this in the pinned message when I have a Arena Ability Team Tracker import for you guys, and an Omni CC, or Omni CD, rather, import for you guys. But, I mean, this got me to 3050 MMR, so it's got to do the trick so far. Hopefully you're not looking for only 3200 MMR in Solo Shuffle. Otherwise, you know what? Unfortunately, I can't deliver. But not yet, anyway. But there you go. Add-ons, interface options, nameplates, everything. The final thing that I wanted to talk about really briefly is my macros. Remember, I already said all my focus macros are actually replaced by that option, again, back in the video. But I still have your boy, your Swifty one-shotter. We have Pillar of Frost, your badge, Raise Dead for Frost, because he actually adds a little bit of damage and he does not auto pet stun in Arena anymore. They changed that. Then for Unholy, Dark Transform, Empower Rune Weapon, because I don't have 2 charges, so I feel comfortable macroing it, so I don't have to see the charge count. And then your badge. The reason I macroed Empower Rune Weapon to Dark Transform is because you do like 45, 45 is 130. So 130, 130. And effectively, once you press this final setup global, it's time to burst, right? So I want all my haste and my rune generation to come right then. Then I have my Lichborn macro, /cast Lichborn, /cast target equals Flarkness Death Coil. So what this will do is if you press it once, you will Lichborn. And if you press it multiple times, you will heal yourself during Lichborn with Death Coils, because you can now Death Coil yourself for Lichborn healing. Pretty neat macro to add in there. My Empower macro, this I talked about in my Frost video, but I actually said one thing wrong. This is a comma. So I'm going to copy and paste this into the description. This is show tooltip, Empower Rune Weapon. That's just how you can see it look like this on the bar. Then /castsequence, reset equals 5, Empower Rune Weapon, comma, null. It looks like a period. I copy and pasted off of a forum post. I would credit it if I remembered what that forum post was, but I'm sure a Google search will get you there. But Empower Rune Weapon, comma, null. There you go. That makes it so you can't empower if you spam your buttons like a goofball like I do. Ba 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 ba. Oh no, my cues, they've taken over. It will show you that you can't press empower twice before that period, that time period goes off, right? So what it'll effectively stop you from doing is using both the charges at once which does nothing for you. They don't stack. They don't give you double the haste. It just overwrites the other one, so it's a total waste. So of course, you need this macro. Oh, the Scourge Strike one. Yeah, it's just pet attack. Keep the pet on my target. Slash pet attack, press Scourge Strike. He will attack your target if he's ever wandering, or he pet kicked and you want to get him back to the kill target, you can just pet attack. The leap and the null macros are just to have them on my bar, to have stun and leap on my bar. So slash cast leap, slash cast null. And that, my friends, is everything. Again, it'll all be linked in the descriptions with timestamps below, so you can get right back to the part that you care about the most. But thank you guys for always asking me questions and always caring what I think. I'm finally able to get this video to you, and I'm happy with that. So thank you guys for everything and for watching my stuff and for actually caring about what I answer your questions with. Okay, I will see you in the next video. Peace.